Hi everyone, this is going to be a 60-minute all levels flow focusing on a lot of core strength, a lot of twisting, and we'll play around with our crow and side crow. So props that I suggest you have: definitely 2 blocks or similarly sized objects, and then a strap a little bit less necessary than the blocks, but if you have one, great, or grab a scarf or miscellaneous piece of clothing that you can use. So we're going to get started on our backs, and I want you to have your strap and 1 block just within arm's reach. And go ahead and lay back on your back. We'll just take a few moments to ground ourselves here, to connect with our breath. I suggest you stretch your legs out straight. We're going to be doing a lot of hip flexor strength work, so it probably feels nice to start with the legs out straight and stretch into those hip flexors a little bit. Arms can come into whatever position is comfortable. If you'd really like to tap into your breath, I suggest bringing one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly, taking a nice deep inhale through the nose, feeling your belly expand as you inhale. And then open your mouth, exhale, sigh your breath out. Take a couple more rounds of breath like that, inhaling through the nose, fully, completely expanding the belly. Exhaling out your mouth. Creating a nice audible sigh as you exhale. And then when you're ready, go ahead and close your mouth. Take a nice deep inhale through the nose, feel the belly expand. See if you can create that same sighing sound out your nose. That same sensation of letting go, of releasing fully, completely. Trying to really guide your breath into your low belly, not letting that hand on your chest rise or fall. Just a couple more breaths here. When you're ready, release your hands. Go ahead and pull your right knee in towards your chest. If you've got your block on the left side, just slide it out of the way. Give that right knee a squeeze, stretch that left leg out. Press that left heel out and away from you. And then taking your left hand to that right knee, stretching your right arm out, guide your right knee across the left side of your body. Shift your gaze over towards your right fingertips. Just a nice, gentle, passive twist here. You can also prop that right knee up on a block if it doesn't comfortably come to the ground. And then you can totally relax into this twist. And come right back to that breath. See if you can practice breathing fully and completely, even in this twist. Inhale to come back through center, pull that right knee in towards your chest. We're going to come into a half happy baby, so start to draw that right knee towards your right shoulder, getting a little opening in that right hip. And then keeping the knee drawing down towards your shoulder, kick your right heel up towards the ceiling, grab the back of your right knee, grabbing that right hamstring. Or you can reach around for the outside of your right foot, that right arm draws along the inside of the right leg, continuing to drive the knee down while you're kicking your heel up towards the ceiling. And then start to draw that right knee back through center and kick your right heel up, straightening into that right leg. So here's where it could be helpful to have a strap. You can wrap that strap around the arch of the foot. I'm going to suggest, if you can't grab your foot, definitely grab that strap if you have one, rather than grabbing onto that right leg, because we're going to take a straight leg twist in a moment. If you don't have a strap, not the end of the world, just grab anywhere on the back of that right leg. either holding on to that strap or the outside of your right foot with your left hand. You're going to straighten that right arm back out to the right and draw that right leg across the left side of your body. So we're not going to get nearly as deep into this twist because this is a pretty intense stretch along the outside of the back of that right leg. If you don't have a strap, you can always grab anywhere on that right leg. Just try to keep the leg straight and take this only as far as you need to go to really feel that sensation. Inhale, draw the right leg back up through center. Exhale, bend back into the right knee, hug it into your chest. And then stretch that right leg out, hug the left knee in. Give it a nice squeeze. Stretch that right leg out and away from you. Bringing your right hand to your left knee, left arm stretches out. Draw that left knee across the right side of your body. Shift your gaze over towards your left fingertips. Again, you can either let that left knee drop down to the ground. If it doesn't touch, you can bring it onto a block or just let it hover. Checking in with your breath. Breathing deeply, breathing fully. Fully inhaling, fully exhaling. Passively using your breath to relax a little deeper into this twist. Inhale to draw that left knee back through center. And then we'll start to come into that half happy baby, drawing the knee towards your left shoulder. Kicking the left heel up towards the ceiling, grabbing the back of that left knee. Lower part of the hamstring, or wrapping your left arm along the inside of the left leg and then grabbing the outside of the left foot. Inhale, draw that left knee back through center as you start to straighten into the left leg. Either grabbing a hold of that foot or wrapping a strap around the arch of your left foot if you've got one. Straightening into that left knee. And then finding that gentle twist, either grabbing the strap or the outside of your left foot with your right hand. Stretch your left arm out and just start to draw that left foot over to the right. Again, it's not going to be nearly as deep of a twist as when our knee was bent. For me, I only moved my foot about a foot. Inhale to draw that left leg back up through center. Exhale, bend back into that left knee, hug it into your chest. Hug both knees into your chest. Maybe rock forward and back, side to side a little bit. And then you're going to stretch both arms out to a T, palms press into the mat. Bring your knees up so that your hips and your knees are both at 90-degree angles. Your shins are going to be parallel with the floor. And really focus on engaging the lower abdominals here. So flatten the low back into the ground, pull the belly towards the spine. You shouldn't be able to slide your hands under your low back at all. We're going to take some abdominal work, twisting, and every time you come back to this position, I want you to think about re-engaging that core, pulling the belly in, flattening the low back. So as you exhale, slowly start to drop the knees towards the right. They're not going to come to the ground. Inhale, draw them back up through center, flatten that low back. Exhale, knees to the left. Inhale, back through center, flatten the low back. Exhale, knees to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. We're going to take 3 more rounds. You can continue here with bent knees, or for more of a challenge, you can straighten into the legs. Using your breath. Every time you come back to center, re-engage the lower abs. Flatten that back, tuck your tailbone, pull your belly in. Once you've taken those 5 full rounds, we'll meet in a full body stretch. Stretching legs out, stretching arms up overhead. No rush to get there if you're still working. Just breathing length into the front of the body. When you're ready, exhale, pull both knees into your chest, curl up like a little ball, draw your forehead towards your knees, pull the belly button towards the spine. And then go ahead and grab your block, place your block underneath your head. So we're just using the block as support here. You can go ahead and bring your feet down to the ground. We're going to come into a supine crow position. So we're really just using the block to take our neck out of the equation. Now reach your fingertips up towards the ceiling and then lift the shoulders off the ground. So you're finding that rounding of the upper back, that protraction of the shoulders. And turn your palms to face back behind you. And notice how your inner elbow creases are now facing back as well. Extend your wrists so your fingers point kind of towards the direction of your toes. And then keeping the inner elbow creases facing back, you're just going to rotate the wrists so that the fingers are facing back behind you as well. And then notice what happens to the shoulders. Do they lose a little bit of that lift? Can you round a little bit more into the shoulders? And start to drop the knees in towards the armpits. Lift the hips. Pull the belly in. Draw the heels down towards the glutes. Round to the upper back. Find that shoulder protraction. Keep pulling the knees in. Keep lifting the hips up. Pulling the belly button towards the spine. And then close your eyes. We're going to hold here for about 10 breaths. Visualize yourself balancing here on your palms. So this is the shape we'll play around with later today. And all this engagement that you're feeling in the shoulders, in the forearms, in the core. This is that engagement that you should feel when we come into this pose later today. One more inhale. Exhale. Release out of that. Remove the block from underneath your head. Take another full body stretch. And then exhale, pull the knees back in towards the chest. Draw your forehead up towards the knees. Just start to rock forward and back. Rocking a couple times. And eventually we're going to rock right up into our Navasana, our boat pose. Bringing the hands to the backs of the kneecaps. Shins are parallel with the floor. The chest is lifted. The collarbones are broad. And then go ahead and bring the hands on either sides of the shins. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, bring both hands over to the right. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hands left. 2 more times each side. Inhale up. Exhale right. Inhale. Exhale left. Inhale. Exhale. Once more. Inhale. Exhale left. Inhale center. Exhale. Bring the feet down to the mat. Place your hands behind you, about a foot or so. Fingertips are facing towards the heels. Press into the palms. Inhale, lift the hips up. Find your reverse tabletop. It's okay on the neck. You can gaze back behind you. That doesn't feel great on the neck. Send your gaze towards your knees. Keep lifting up through the hips. If you want to take this a little bit deeper, you can straighten into the legs. Keep lifting the hips up, stretching through the hip flexors and the shoulders. Exhale, go ahead and drop the hips down. We're all going to straighten our legs out. Sit up nice and tall. Keep flexing the toes back towards the face. And then exhale, find a forward fold. You can grab your strap, wrap it around your feet if you'd like. We're not going to stay here too long. You could also just bring the hands along either sides of the legs or grab a hold of the feet. Just taking a moment to reconnect with your breath. Inhaling for a little more length in the spine. Exhaling for a little deeper stretch into the hamstrings. Inhale to rise back up. And go ahead and find your way into your tabletop pose. So we're going to take a couple rounds of cat-cow, and I like to get a little extra bang for my buck, so we're going to do that while stretching into our wrists and our forearms. So first, go ahead and turn your fingertips out to either side of your mat. As you exhale, round into the spine, tuck the chin to the chest. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale, round, finding your cat pose. Inhale, cow, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale, find a neutral spine. Turn your fingertips back towards your knees or anywhere in between the knees and the sides of the mat if it's not accessible to get all the way back towards the knees. And just a couple more rounds of cat-cow here. Or if it feels good and you want to take some side-to-side movements, feel free to do so. Whatever feels good on your spine and your wrists. And then go ahead and flip onto the backs of the hands. Palms are going to face up, fingertips face towards the knees. If this is a lot, you can do one side at a time. And again, just a couple cat-cows or side-to-side movements. Eventually come to meet back in a neutral tabletop position. And then keeping the hips high, walk the hands forward, melt the chest down towards the mat. Coming into a puppy stretch. From our puppy pose, we're going to transition into our Sphinx pose. So keep the forearms planted. Pull the chest through the arms. And then lower the hips down. Lift the chest. Exhale, lower the forehead to the mat. Slide the hands under the shoulders. We want our elbows to be at about 90 degrees. Press into the palms. Root the tops of the feet into the mat. Squeeze the glutes. Inhale. Lift up, baby cobra. Exhale, lower down. We'll take about 5 rounds like this. Inhaling to lift. Exhaling to lower. Moving with your breath. So just kind of waking up the triceps, waking up the core. Keep squeezing the glutes as you lift to protect the low back. Keep rooting the tops of the feet into the ground. On this 5th round, inhale, lifting all the way up into a larger cobra or a full upward dog. Exhaling back to your downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. Pedal out the feet if that feels nice. So if you are tighter in the hamstrings, I'm going to suggest bringing both hands onto blocks. We're going to, in a moment, very slowly tiptoe our feet up the mat. So bringing hands onto blocks is just going to make that a little bit more accessible. So from your downward dog, inhale to lift your heels. Find that protraction of the shoulders, a little rounding in the upper back. Look forward. And slowly just tiptoe about halfway up the mat. Once you get there, keeping your heels lifted, keep protracting the shoulders, pressing into the mat or the blocks. Inhale, lift your right leg up, hike that right hip up, and then see if you can lean forward, tap your right toes to your wrist or to the block, and then step it back. Inhale, lift the left leg up, hike the left hip, tap it to the left wrist or block, and step it back. And then we'll tiptoe feet all the way up in between the hands or the blocks. Forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold back down, bend gently into both knees. And then straighten into just that right leg. Maybe lift your right arm up. Exhale, drop that right hand down, bend your right knee. Inhale, left leg straightens, maybe left arm lifts.
Exhale to fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. You're going to have one more opportunity to play around with those toe taps. I'm going to show this one without the blocks. But obviously, the higher up you are on the blocks, the more accessible this will be if the hamstrings are tighter. The lower down you are to the ground, the more challenging it will be. So exhale as you fold forward, press the hands into the ground or the blocks. Inhale to lift your heels up, protract the shoulders. Tiptoe just about halfway back. Pausing there, keep the heels lifted. Inhale, right leg lifts. Hike that right hip up. Lean forward, see if you can tap the right toes onto the right forearm or the block. Step it back. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, tap it forward. Step it back. And then tiptoe all the way back into your high plank pose. Pausing in your high plank, spin the inner elbow creases forward, lean forward, knees up or down. Exhale, hug the elbows in, lower halfway. Inhale, lift up, upward dog. Exhale, back, downward dog. Drop the knees. And then sit back on the heels. You can either have toes tucked for a stretch along the bottoms of the feet or toes untucked if that's more comfortable. Inhale, sweep the arms up, lift the gaze. Exhale, cactus the arms, bend the elbows. Draw the right elbow underneath the left. You can either bring right fingertips to left palm or the backs of the hands. Press the elbows forward, lift them up. You can keep hips on heels or you can lift the hips up. Maybe find a gentle back bend, gazing upward. Exhale, lower hips to heels. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, cactus the arms. Draw left under right. Press the elbows forward, lift them up. Maybe lift the hips. Maybe take that back bend. Exhale, lower hips to heels. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, lower the hands down and come back into your tabletop pose. So we're going to do a little more hip flexor work here. As with those toe taps, I suggest having hands on blocks. That's going to make it more accessible. And the higher up the blocks are, the easier it will be. So I'm going to show this with my hands on the lowest level of the blocks. You choose what works best for you. Finding that tabletop pose, and then finding some protraction in the shoulders. Round through that upper back. Inhale, stretch your right leg back behind you. And then exhale, draw your right knee towards your right tricep. Exhale, drop it down to your right wrist. Inhale, pop it back up. Exhale, cross it over to your left tricep. Drop it down to your left wrist. Pull it back up. Back to your right tricep. And then stretch that right leg back behind you. Stretch your left arm out in front of you. Hold. Breathe. If hands are on blocks, go ahead and remove the blocks. You can keep that right leg lifted. We're going to lift up into a three-legged downward dog. Or you can drop the right foot down, lift into a downward dog, and then sweep that right leg high. From your three-legged dog, we're going to take that same movement from a downward dog. So that right knee is going to come up towards your right tricep, drop down to your right wrist, pop it back up, cross it over left tricep, drop it down, pop it back up, right tricep, and then step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Bring your hands back onto blocks here, both hands on the inside of that right foot. You're going to magnetize your right knee into your right tricep without rocking forward and back, maintaining this shape in the legs. You're going to see if you can just lift that right foot up. And then go ahead and drop it down. Drop your left knee down. And find a twist to the right. Right hand to your right thigh. Press the hips forward. If it feels good, you can bend into that left knee, reach back for your left foot with your right hand, open up through that shoulder. If you're a little more open in the hips, you can drop down onto that left forearm, or I kind of like to have the left forearm on a block. Release that foot if you've got it. You can push the blocks off to the side. You're going to heel toe that right foot in through center, and then sweep your arms up. Press the hips forward. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center, and then draw your left tricep onto your right thigh. Press into the palms, deepen into your twist. Goal here is to bring the thumb knuckles towards the center of your chest. Send your gaze up and to the right. Try to not collapse that right knee in, so keep actively pressing your right knee against your left tricep. Release the hands. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hands are going to come down to frame that right foot. Press into the palms, tuck the left toes, lift the left knee up. Sweep that right leg up into your three-legged downward dog. Bend into your right knee, open up through your hip. And then step your right foot down to meet your left, coming into your downward dog. Inhale, shifting forward, high plank. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Drop the knees, find that tabletop pose. So your option to use blocks here or to bring hands onto the ground. So again, the lower you are, the more challenging this will be. Find that protraction of the shoulders first. Stretch your left foot back behind you. And then draw left knee to left tricep. Drop it down left wrist. Pop it back up. Cross it over right tricep. Drop it down. Pop it back up. Back to left tricep. Stretch that left leg out. Stretch your right arm out. Hold. If you have blocks, go ahead and remove them. Drop your right hand down. You can either keep that left leg lifted as you lift into a three-legged dog, or drop it down and meet us in that three-legged dog. Again, we'll take that same sequence from here. Exhale, drawing the left knee to left tricep. Drop it to the wrist. Pop it back up. Cross it over. Drop it down. Pop it back up. Back to the left. And then step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Hands come onto blocks. Magnetize the left knee in towards the left arm without shifting forward or back. Protract the shoulders, engage the core. See if you can lift that left foot up off the mat and then drop it back down. Drop your right knee down and find a twist to the left. Left hand to left thigh. You can open up through that left knee if it feels good, or you can keep it closed. You might reach back for that right foot. You might lower down onto your right forearm. Go ahead and remove the blocks. Heel toe that left foot back in towards center. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, press the hips forward. Hands come to heart center, and then right tricep to the left thigh. Press into the palms, deepen into your twist. Gaze up and to the left. Again, thumb knuckles are working towards the center of the chest. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get there. Inhale, sweep the arms back up through center. Exhale, hands come down Tuck the right toes, lift the right knee, sweep that left leg up and back, and then bend into your left knee, open up through your hip. And then step that left foot down to meet your right. Inhale, shift forward, high plank. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, shift forward, high plank. And then exhale, lower down onto your forearms, coming into a forearm plank. Forearms are parallel with one another. Keep pulling the belly towards the spine. And then exhale, drop both hips over towards the right. Inhale, come up through center. Exhale, drop the hips to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Center, left. 3 more times to each side. On that inhale, you can find a little more lift of the hips. Working those obliques. When you're done, tiptoe the feet in towards the elbows and find a little rock forward and back. Building up some heat in the shoulders. Take about 5 rocks forward and back. And then drop the knees. Hips to heels, child's pose. Find your breath. You can keep the arms stretched out in front of you. You could tent up onto fingertips. You could reach the hips to the heels. And then when you're ready, inhale, lifting up into your tabletop pose. I'm going to come into a bit of a funky shape here, so bear with me. Have fun with it. If it doesn't work, who cares? So we're going to come into a staggered dolphin pose, half crow. Crazy. So you're going to bring your left forearm onto the ground. Your right palm is going to stay in line with that left elbow. If this isn't accessible for you, I want you to bring both forearms onto the ground and just work that dolphin pose. So from here, left forearm, right palm, plant onto the ground. Tuck your toes. Lift your hips up. So you're in this staggered dolphin. And then see if you can draw that right knee onto your right tricep. Gaze forward. Protract the shoulders. Pull the belly towards the spine. Step the right foot back. Lower the knees down. We'll take it to the other side. Right forearm down onto the ground. Left palm in line with the right elbow. Press into the forearm and the left palm. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Maybe you stay here. Maybe that left knee can come to your left tricep. Lean forward, protract the shoulders, pull the belly in. Squeeze that left heel towards your left glutes. Step the left foot back. Lower the knees down. Hips to heels. Relax. Shake it out. All right, we're going to play around with 3 variations of our crow pose. For the first variation, not my favorite, but we're going to bring the knees to the outsides of the triceps. The biggest thing you want to keep in mind here is to actively press the triceps against the inner thighs. We don't want our elbows knocking in towards one another. So you're going to come into your malasana, your yogi squat pose. Knees to the outsides of the triceps. Plant the hands. And actively press the triceps against the knees, the inner thighs. Lean forward. Protract the shoulders. And then maybe float one or both feet. Option 2, a little more challenging. We're going to start with our feet a little bit closer together. You can also start this up higher. For today, I'm going to show it from down low. Your goal is to try to get the knees as close to the armpits as you can get. So now we're coming into more of that shape that we found when we were on our backs. The hands are going to plant. You're going to lift the hips up. Look forward, lean forward. Maybe you can float one or both feet. You can also bring the feet up onto a block here, which will give you that sensation of being in crow, even if you don't lift the feet up completely off the ground. You can even stack a couple blocks on top of one another to get your feet more up to that height that they would be in a crow. Option 3, if you really want to have some fun, you're going to take a block, set it on the highest level, and then bring your feet to either side of the block. So this is if you're really comfortable in your crow pose. You're going to try lifting up a block with your feet. Plant the hands, once again, knees to triceps. Look forward, lean forward. Squeeze the block in between the feet, and then maybe lift the feet up, holding onto that block, and lower it down. So if you want to spend a little more time playing around with your crow pose, feel free to pause the video. Otherwise, we're going to move back into a little bit of a flow. So when you're ready, go ahead and meet in downward dog. Just take a few breaths here to reconnect with the breath. From your downward dog, inhale, sweep that right leg up and back behind you. Exhale, draw your knee towards your nose, round through the upper back, and step your right foot up and in between your hands. Inhale, rise up to your high lunge. Pausing here for a moment, maybe settling the hips a little bit lower. And then exhale, open out into your warrior 2. Drawing that right knee over your right ankle. Make sure it's not collapsing inward. Right toes are facing forward. Left foot is parallel with the back edge of the mat. Gaze is over right middle finger. Reach that right arm forward and then exhale to reverse your warrior. Left arm down, left leg, right arm up towards the ceiling. You can stay with this arm variation, or you can bend into that right elbow, either bringing your left arm on top of your right elbow for a tricep stretch, or reaching that left arm back behind the back, grabbing a hold of right fingertips. Inhaling to rise back up, warrior 2, unwinding the arms. Hinging forward, dropping the right elbow down to the right thigh. Left arm sweeps up and overhead. Extended side angle, press that right forearm, right elbow into the right thigh. Inhale, rise back up, warrior 2. Straighten into that right leg. Exhale, reach your right arm forward, and then drop that right hand down along the inside of the right leg. Left arm reaches up towards the ceiling. Inhale, rising back up, warrior 2, bending back into that right knee. And then spin up onto the ball of that left foot. Sweep the arms up and overhead, finding your high lunge. Exhale, bring hands to heart center. Finding a twist to the right, left elbow to right thigh, press into the palms, deepen into that twist, gaze up and to the right. From here, send your gaze down towards the ground, staying in this twist with the upper body. Step your left foot forward to meet your right, coming into a twisted chair pose. From here, you're going to sweep that right arm up, stay twisted to the right, but send your gaze down to the ground. Send your left fingertips down on the ground or onto a block. Stretch your left foot back behind you as you straighten into both legs, coming into a revolved half moon. That right hand can come down to the ground, or for more of a challenge, you can bring both hands to heart center. As you exhale, bend gently into the right knee and draw the left knee behind the right knee. Inhale, straighten back out to a warrior 3. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Once more, exhale, bend. Inhale, rise up. Draw that left knee up with you. Exhale, cross your left leg over your right. That left foot can either hover or you can double wrap it around the right leg. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, cactus your arms. Draw your left arm under your right, finding your eagle arms. Lift the elbows, press them forward. Inhale, unwind the arms, unwind the legs, lift that left knee up. Exhale, your left hand behind you. Your right hand is going to come to the outside of that left knee, or grab a hold of the outside of your left foot as you straighten into your left leg. Maybe shift your gaze towards your left fingertips. Shift your gaze forward. Release your foot. Keep it lifted. Straighten that leg if your knee is bent. Hinge forward to your warrior three. Slight bend in the right knee. Step that left foot about halfway back. Straighten into both legs, finding our pyramid pose. Hands are going to come to hips. Square the hips off. Pull the right hip back. Press the left hip forward. And I'm going to suggest everyone have hands on blocks here on either side of that right foot. Just taking a few moments in stillness, inhaling for length. Exhaling to deepen into your fold. And then inhale, lift halfway. Press the hands into the blocks. Protract the shoulders without bending the right knee. See if you can lift that right foot up off the ground and then step it back to meet your left. Remove the blocks and make your way into your downward dog. Inhale, shift forward into your high plank pose. Exhale, lower down onto your forearms. We're going to do 5 of those side-to-side movements. Exhale, hips to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. 4 more at your own pace. Try to keep the shoulders stacked over the elbows. Try to keep the forearms parallel with one another. On that inhale, find a little lift of the hips. Pull the belly towards the spine. When you've taken those 5 rounds, come into your dolphin pose, lift the hips, tiptoe the feet towards the elbows, and then rock forward and back. Rocking about 5 times. When you're done, find your child's pose, whatever that looks like for you. We're going to take about a minute of free time. So maybe that means hanging out in child's pose. Maybe that means playing around with one of those crow variations. Maybe it means playing around with that staggered dolphin pose, forearm down, hand in line with elbow, working on that staggered dolphin half crow. That's a really nice pose to build strength. Maybe you're going to play around with holding your crow pose a little bit longer than you normally would. That's a nice challenge. If you can usually hold it for a breath and then you fall out of it pretty quickly, see if you can challenge yourself. Really find a focal point. Really connect with your breath. And find that core engagement that we found when we were on our back. Maybe you can hold that crow pose a little bit longer. See if you can get comfortable here. Maybe you play around with straightening into the elbows, coming into that crane variation. So just another couple breaths wherever you're at. We'll come to meet in a downward dog, preparing our body for a little more movement. We'll take that flow to the left side. When you're ready, inhale, sweep that left leg high. Exhale, knee to nose, protract the shoulders, step that left foot up and in between your hands. Inhale, rise up to your high lunge, settle in here, lower the hips. And then exhale, open out to your warrior two. Spin that right heel down, right foot's parallel with the back edge of your mat. Left toes are forward. We want to make sure in our warrior two that we're standing up nice and tall, so we're not leaning one way or the other, but our weight is centered over the hips. And then reach that left hand forward. Exhale, reverse your warrior, right hand to right leg, left arm up. Stay here or bend into that left elbow. Either reach back for left fingertips or bring that right hand on top of the left elbow. Little tricep stretch. Inhale to unwind, warrior two. Reach that left arm forward, drop it down. Right arm stretches up and overhead. Press the left elbow into the left thigh. Inhale to rise up. Straighten into that left knee. Reach the left hand forward. Drop it down, finding your triangle pose. Gaze lifts up. Inhale to rise back up, warrior two. And then spin up onto the ball of the right foot. Sweep the arms up, find your high lunge. Exhale, hands to heart center. Find a twist to the left, right elbow to left thigh. Press into the palms. Straighten out that back leg. Settle in here for a couple breaths. Gazing down towards the ground, stay in this twist. Step your right foot forward to meet your left. Coming into that revolved chair. And then left arm lifts up. Right hand comes down, gaze comes down. Right leg stretches back behind you, straighten into both legs. And then see if you can spin your gaze back up. Both hands to the ground or hands to heart center. Slight bend in the left knee. Right knee draws behind the left knee. Inhale, straighten out, warrior three. Exhale to bend. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend, hold. Inhale to rise up. Draw that right knee up with you. And then cross the right knee over the left. Maybe double rock the legs. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, cactus arms. Right elbow under left, eagle arms. Press the elbows forward and up. Find your breath. Release the arms, release the legs. Left hand to that right knee, right hand behind you, or left hand to the outside of the right foot, straighten into that leg. Maybe shift your gaze towards your right fingertips. Unwind, straighten that right leg out, keep it lifted. Exhale, hinge forward, warrior three. And then step that right foot about halfway back. Straighten into both legs, hands to hips. Square the hips off. And then hands to blocks on either side of that left foot. Couple breaths here in stillness. Folding any amount over that left leg. Press into the blocks, protract the shoulders, pull the belly in without bending that left knee. Lift the left foot up, step it back to meet the right. Find your downward dog, remove the blocks. Optional vinyasa here if you think that feels good for your body. Your downward dog. Inhale, lift the heels, look forward. Exhale, walk, step, or hop, feet to hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold back down. Bend the knees. Inhale, rise up into your chair pose. So now we're going to come into our side crow. I'm going to run through a few variations here. Option one, so let's start actually in a toe stand. So bring your hips down to your heels, lift your hips up. This is going to make it a little bit more accessible. So this would be the version I would recommend if you're playing around with your side crow, if you're kind of new to it. So you're going to twist to the right. Your right elbow is going to find your right hip. Your left elbow is going to find the outside of the right leg down by the knee. You're going to plant your palms. You're going to look forward. You're going to lean forward. And then maybe you play around with floating the feet. Or another option, like with our crow pose, I'll show from a different angle. You can always bring feet onto a block. That will give you the sensation of being in this pose without actually having to lift the feet up off the ground. If you are ready to float the feet up off the ground, go for it. Option two is going to be a little bit more advanced. In this option, we're not going to connect that right elbow to the right hip. We're going to let that right elbow float. So you're just going to bring the left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Float the right arm. But same thing, kind of look forward, lean forward, and then maybe float the legs. Same thing here with that version of your side crow. I'm going to kind of lift my feet up and then put them on the block, but you can start with feet up on the block as well. So this still gives you the sensation of being in the pose without actually having that fear of lifting the feet up. So take another moment or so to play with that on the right side. Give yourself a moment to roll out the wrists, stretch out the wrists, do whatever you gotta do. Maybe take a child's pose. And then let's move on over to the left side. So again, I'll just run through both of those variations. Starting from that toe stand, knees together, left elbow to left hip, right elbow to the left outside of the left knee, look and lean forward, maybe float the feet, maybe lift feet onto a block. Option two, left elbow hovers, outside of the left knee connects with the right tricep, look and lean forward, float the feet. Maybe lift feet onto a block. Give yourself a little more time to play there. Stretch out the wrists when you're done. And then we'll go ahead and meet in a child's pose. Knees wide or knees together, doesn't matter. Inhale, rise up into your tabletop. We'll just take those same cat-cow wrist stretches that we did in the beginning of class, turning the fingertips out to either side, exhaling to round. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale. Inhale. Find a neutral spine. Turn the fingertips towards the knees or anywhere in between. Taking a few cat-cows. Taking some side-to-side movements. Flipping onto the backs of the palms. Backs of the hands, rather. Palms face up. Again, cat-cows, side to side. Maybe you want to stretch back towards a child's pose. And then come into your downward dog. Stretch that right leg up. Exhale, step it forward. Drop the left knee down, untuck the toes. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, press the hips forward, stretching into that left hip flexor. Lower the hands down to the ground or a block, straighten into that right leg. Coming into your half splits. If you'd like to take a twist here, you can walk both hands to the outside of that right leg. Inhale, hands back to frame that right foot, bend into your right knee. Press into the palms, step back, downward dog. Left leg lifts. Exhale, step it forward. Drop the right knee down, sweep the arms up. Press the hips forward. Hands come down, straighten into that left leg. Maybe hands are on a block. Maybe hands walk to the outside of that left leg. Hands come back to frame that left foot, bend the left knee, press the hips forward. Plant the palms, step the left foot back. Downward dog. Inhale to high plank. Exhale, lower all the way down to the belly. Clasp the hands behind the back. Reach the knuckles back. Inhale, lift the chest. Keep the lower half of the body rooting down. Keep squeezing the glutes to protect the low back. Exhale, lower, release the hands. Slide the hands under the shoulders. Inhale, lift through a nice big cobra or an upward dog. Might feel nice to rock the hips side to side. And then drop the knees, shift the hips to the heels. Find your child's pose. When you're ready, make your way onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. Stretch the arms out to a T. Knees and hips to 90 degrees. Then draw both knees over to the right. Let the knees drop. Gaze over to the left. The breath begins to soften. The mind quiets down. The muscles relax. Inhale, knees and gaze back up through center. Exhale, knees left, gaze right. Passively settle into this twist. Inhale, knees and gaze up through center. Lower the feet down, stretch the feet out, stretch the arms up overhead. Full body stretch. Taking any last movements that feel good on your body before allowing yourself to settle into stillness in your Shavasana. I will leave you here. Try to spend at least a couple minutes here allowing your body, your breath, and your mind to fully quiet down. When you're ready, slowly making your way out of this pose. and thanking yourself for taking the time to